Chosen ones who have endured the silence of long seasons, this message is the answer you have summoned. You have been standing in the hallway of time, feeling the weight of a promise that seems to delay its arrival, wondering if the connection has been severed. But I tell you, your spirit was drawn to this moment not by accident, but by the precise law of affinity. You are here because you are ready to understand the architecture of the wait. You have asked, perhaps in the quiet desperation of the night, what is God doing while I wait? You have looked at the closed doors and the stillness and mistaken them for denial. But we must correct this perception right now. The silence is not empty, it is pregnant. The delay is not a refusal, it is a preparation of the vessel. You see, when we speak of God, we are speaking of your own wonderful human imagination, the fundamental cause of all life. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not dig it up every hour to see if it is growing. You trust the nature of the soil. In the same way, the long season you have endured is the necessary interval between the impression of your desire and its expression in this three-dimensional world. But I know the burden of the heart. I know that for many of you, this has not just been a wait. It has felt like a battle. You feel you have lost time, perhaps years where the adversary, which is nothing more than the doubt and the evidence of the senses, has whispered that you have been forgotten. If you are feeling the weight of this journey, and if you truly desire to understand how to navigate these seasons without losing your peace, I invite you to look at the 3 keys to a prosperous life. This is not just another book. It is a trilogy designed as a map for the chosen ones to awaken to who they really are. It is a guide to help you heal those invisible blocks that keep you in the waiting room longer than necessary, teaching you how to receive, sustain, and multiply your good without guilt. Whether you prefer to read the ebook or listen to the audiobook, these keys are essential for stabilizing your consciousness so you do not waver when the winds blow. You can find the link to this trilogy in the pinned comment and description below. If you feel this resonating, do not let the moment pass. These tools are here to support your expansion. Now let us return to this mystery of the 10 years, or perhaps longer, that felt like interference. You look back at the last decade and you see a void, a missing piece of the puzzle that no earthly success could fill. You felt the interference. You felt what the ancients called the prince of the kingdom of Persia, withstanding the angel. But let us interpret this psychologically, as we must do with all scripture. This adversary that has waged war against you for 10 years is not a demon in the clouds. It is the crystallized structure of your former beliefs. It is the old man, the old state of consciousness, fighting to survive against the new man you are becoming. The interference was real, yes, but it was internal before it was external. The doors were closed because your consciousness was being tempered. God, your imagination, was not withholding the blessing. He was expanding your capacity to receive it. If you had received the fullness of your calling 10 years ago, you might have been crushed by the weight of it. The war you felt was the friction of the potter's hand reshaping the clay. The lies, the distractions, the delays, these were the fires burning off the dross, so that only pure gold would remain. Consider the possibility that the silence of God is actually the activity of God. When you assume a state, when you dare to believe, I am that which I desire to be, a bridge of incidents is immediately constructed. This bridge is invisible to your mortal eye. It spans across people, circumstances, and events that you could never consciously orchestrate. While you wait, your imagination is influencing the hearts of strangers, moving mountains in the background, and aligning the chessboard so that when the moment comes, the checkmate is inevitable. The delay is simply your 3-dimensional perspective of a 4-dimensional restructuring. Why does it feel like a battle? Why does the dragon of fear roar loudest just before the dawn? It is because the outer world is a mirror, And mirrors do not smile until you smile. The dragon is merely the reflection of your own inner intensity and the last remnants of your doubt. If you are finding clarity in this, take a second to click the like button. It is a small act that signals to the algorithm, and more importantly to your own mind, that you are accepting this truth. You must understand that the scrolls of heaven mentioned in the ancient texts are the patterns of your own destiny, written in your imagination. The enemy knew this alignment was imminent because your desire is the prophecy of its own fulfillment. The intensity of the opposition you have felt is the greatest proof of the magnitude of your calling. You do not fortify a city that holds no treasure. The thief, which is the doubt and the fear, does not break into an empty house. The very fact that you have faced 10 years of spiritual resistance is the evidence that you carry a pearl of great price. So, what is God doing? He is weaving the threads. He is hardening your resolve. He is bringing you to the point where you stop looking for signs on the outside and start living from the conviction on the inside. The secret of the long wait is that it forces you to find the resource within yourself. If the answer had come instantly, you would have worshipped the answer. But because it tarried, you had to find the God within. You had to learn that you are the operant power. This brings us to the concept of the Sabbath. In the true spiritual sense, the Sabbath is not a day of the week. It is a state of mental rest. It is the moment you effectively say, "It is finished." When you are truly in the state of the wish fulfilled, you are not anxious. You are not checking the time. You are not screaming at the silence. You are resting in the deep knowing conviction that the creation is done. If you are still waiting with anxiety, you have not yet entered the Sabbath. You are still trying to force the birth. But if you can look at the delay and say, "Thank you, Father, that you have heard me," and walk in the feeling of the end, then the wait is no longer a wait. It becomes a period of joyous expectancy. The interference you experienced was designed to distract you from this rest. The enemy of your soul wanted you frantic, desperate, and looking for external saviors. But you are the chosen one because you have the capacity to turn inward. Tonight, I want you to try something. Do not ask how much longer. Instead, enter the silence of your own mind. Close your eyes to the evidence of the years lost. There is no time in the imagination. You can revise 10 years of struggle in 10 seconds of glorious assumption. Imagine that the news you have waited for has just arrived. Feel the relief. Not the excitement of the future, but the relief of the present. It is done. Feel the weight lift off your shoulders. Hear the congratulations of a friend. Touch the reality of your dream. By doing this, you are stepping out of the timeline of the wait and into the timeline of the fulfillment. You are collapsing the time. The only thing that keeps the blessing away is your attention to its absence. And as you hold this feeling, realize that the 10 years were not wasted. They were the gathering of the storm. The power that has been accumulating behind the dam of your patience is about to break forth. But it requires you to stop fighting the old battles. The war is over the moment you surrender to the wish fulfilled. The doors that were closed will open, not because you banged on them, but because you are now the person who possesses the key. If you have recognized your own story in these words, if you see the pattern of the last decade not as a tragedy, but as a divine setup, share your affirmation in the comments. Write, "I am ready to receive," and let that be your decree. And if you know others who are weary from the waiting, share this message with them. We are a brotherhood of light, and we rise by lifting others. Remember, the world is a faithful echo. It has no choice but to reflect what you are doing in secret. If you are waiting, it will give you more waiting. If you are possessing, it will give you possession. The secret is that God has never been waiting on you. He has been waiting as you, for you to realize that the power was in your hands all along. The long season ends tonight, not by a shift in the stars, but by a shift in your assumption. Enter the state and let the dead bury the dead. You are risen, And when you rise, do not look back at the tomb. Do not check to see if the old man is really dead. To check on the old state, to wonder if it is still there, is to revive it. You must walk in the newness of life, carrying the secret perfume of your wish fulfilled. You do not need to tell the world yet. In fact, secrecy is often the vessel of power. The seed must remain in the dark earth to germinate. If you keep digging it up to show your neighbors that you have planted a seed, you kill it. So walk through your day tomorrow not as the person who is trying to get something, but as the person who has already received it. This subtle shift in your inner posture is what the mystics called walking with God. It is a quiet confidence, a lack of neediness, a stability that confuses the people around you because they cannot understand why you are so calm in the midst of the storm. You are entering a phase of your journey where you need a structured understanding of these inner mechanics, a way to stabilize this consciousness so you do not fall back into the sleep of the senses. This is why I often recommend you explore The 3 Keys to a Prosperous Life. It is not just another book. It is a trilogy designed specifically for those who feel this awakening stirring within them. It acts as a practical map for the chosen ones to fully understand who they really are, to heal the invisible blocks that keep the old man alive, and to expand with stability. It teaches you how to receive, sustain, and multiply your good without the guilt that religious tradition often imposes. Whether you prefer to read the ebook or listen to the audiobook during your moments of rest, this knowledge is vital. You can find the link to The 3 Keys to a Prosperous Life in the pinned comment or description below. If you are ready to stop stumbling in the dark and turn on the light of understanding, I invite you to explore it. Now, as you walk in this new state, you will encounter the shadows of the old world. This is inevitable. The world is a mirror, and sometimes the reflection takes a moment to catch up to the new image you are projecting. You might assume wealth and the next day receive a bill you cannot pay. You might assume health and feel a sudden pain. Do not be afraid. This is where your spiritual warfare truly begins. But remember, the war is entirely mental. This is where you must summon the aspect of your consciousness that the ancients called Archangel Michael. Do not look for Michael in the clouds. Michael is not a winged being outside of you. Michael is a faculty of your own wonderful human imagination. The name Michael asks the question, who is like God? And since God is your imagination, Michael is that disciplined power of attention that stands at the gate of your mind. When the senses scream, look at this debt, or look at this report, the Michael faculty is the one that raises the sword of discernment and says, I see the facts, but I know the truth. The sword of Michael is your ability to cut the cord of attention that binds you to the problem. You deny the evidence of the senses, not by ignoring it, but by denying its final authority over you. You look at the lack and you say, you have no power over me, for I am the resurrection. This is the discipline of the chosen one. The dragon that Michael fights is nothing more than your own doubts and the frozen past appearing as solid circumstances. The dragon wants to devour the child, your new desire, the moment it is born. It wants to swallow your dream with fear and logic. But you, standing in the authority of the I Am, use your attention to starve the dragon. You take your eyes off the problem and place them firmly on the solution. You do not fight the darkness with a stick. You turn on the light. If this concept of the inner Michael resonates with your current battles, if you feel the need for this sword of discernment, click the like button. Let it be a signal that you are taking up your arms, which are entirely mental, to defend your new state of consciousness. As you maintain this state, you will enter what we call the bridge of incidents. This is a series of events that leads you from where you are physically to where you are in your imagination. And listen closely, because this is where many lose their way. The bridge of incidents is not always paved with gold. It is often paved with challenges that force you to move. If you have assumed a new career, you might get fired from your current job tomorrow. To the unawakened mind, this looks like a disaster. They cry out, "I prayed for a better job, and look, I lost the one I had." But to the awakened imagination, this is the bridge. You had to be released from the old to make room for the new. The old structure had to crumble for the new palace to be built. Do not judge the events of the coming days by their surface appearance. You do not know the short way to your desire, but your greater self does. If a relationship ends, if a door closes, if a sudden change forces you to move, do not panic. Stand still. Remember the state you entered in the silence. If you remain faithful to that end, every single event, even the ones that look like failures, will be woven into the tapestry of your fulfillment. The Father, your imagination, has ways you know not of. He can use a stranger, a chance meeting, or even a seeming misfortune to propel you to your goal. Your only job is to remain faithful to the end, not to dictate the means. Consider the story of Joseph in the scriptures. He was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for years. If you looked at his life in the middle of the story, you would say the law had failed him. But the pit and the prison were the very steps, the bridge of incidents, that placed him in the palace of the Pharaoh to save nations. Your current struggle may be your pit, or it may be your prison. But if you hold the vision, it is leading directly to your palace. Do not curse the bridge. Walk across it with your head high, knowing the end has already been determined by your assumption. There is another faculty you must awaken, often symbolized as Archangel Gabriel. Gabriel is the messenger, the bringer of good news. In your mind, Gabriel is the voice of intuition and the sudden realization of your desire. It is that moment when the idea drops into your heart, the Annunciation. When Mary, who represents your pure capacity to imagine, receives the news, she asks, "How can this be, seeing I know not a man?" She is asking, "How can I realize this dream when I have no money, no connections, and no help from the world?" And the answer comes, "The Holy Spirit will come upon you." This means that the desire itself contains the power of its own fulfillment. You do not need a man, you do not need external force or worldly manipulation to bring it to pass. The conception is immaculate. When you have a desire, treat it as a message from your higher self. Do not kill the messenger with logic. Do not say, "That's impossible." Instead, say, "Be it unto me according to thy word." Accept the desire as a promise. If you have felt that stirring, that sudden urge to be more, to do more, do not suppress it. That is Gabriel speaking. That is your destiny knocking. Open the door by saying yes to the feeling. But what if you fall? What if you lose your temper or succumb to fear or react negatively to the news? We are human, and the sleep is deep. This is why you have been given the greatest tool of all: revision. Revision is the act of changing the past. It is the power of forgiveness in action. If today you received bad news, or if you had an argument that lowered your vibration, do not go to sleep accepting that as the final fact. Replay the day in your mind's eye. Go back to that moment of conflict or fear, but this time rewrite the script. Hear the good news instead of the bad. See the smile instead of the frown. Feel the handshake of agreement instead of the rejection. Do this over and over in your imagination until it feels real, until the emotional sting of the memory is gone. By doing this, you are pruning the vine of your future. You are cutting off the negative branch before it can bear more fruit. You are changing the seed. It is never too late to revise. You can revise a conversation from this morning or a trauma from 20 years ago. The past is not fixed. It is fluid memory, and you are the editor. If you are willing to use this tool of revision tonight to clear your slate before you sleep, comment, "I am making all things new." Let this be your commitment to never carry the burdens of today into the potential of tomorrow. You see, the chosen one is simply the one who chooses. You have been chosen by your own awakening to be the operant power in your world. The unawakened man is a victim of his circumstances. The awakened man is the creator of them. But this power comes with the responsibility of constant vigilance. You must watch your mental diet as carefully as you watch the food you eat. You would not eat poison because it was free, yet many of you consume the poison of the news, the gossip of the world, and the fears of others simply because it is served to you. You must fast from the negative. I am not speaking of starving the body, but of starving the demons of fear. When the conversation turns to illness, poverty, and disaster, you must mentally shut the door. Do not participate. Do not lend your I am to the mess. Withdraw your attention. In the silence of your mind, rewrite what you are hearing. If a friend tells you of their sickness, hear them telling you of their recovery. If the news tells of recession, feel the security of your own supply. This is how you pray without ceasing. Prayer is not a kneeling beggar. Prayer is the habitual control of your inner conversation. Consider the concept of the promise. In the end, this journey is not just about getting cars or houses or health. Those are the toys we play with to learn the law. The true purpose is the expansion of your consciousness until you realize you are God asleep, dreaming you are a man. Every time you use the law to change your world, you are waking up a little more. You are testing your power. You are flexing the muscles of divinity. Do not feel guilty for wanting things. Your desires are the language God uses to expand His creation through you. By fulfilling your desire, you glorify the imagination that gave it to you. However, there is a trap in the how and the when. These are the two thieves that rob you of your peace. How will it happen, and when will it happen? These questions belong to the rational mind, not the imagination. The rational mind is limited to what it has seen before. It cannot conceive of a miracle. The imagination, however, is infinite. When you ask how, you are looking for limitations. When you ask when, you are affirming that you do not have it yet. You must leave the how and the when to the depth of your own being. Your greater self knows the perfect time and the perfect way. Think of it like planting a garden. You do not dig up the seed every hour to see if it is growing. You trust the nature of the soil. Your mind is the soil. The state you entered, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, is the seed. Once you have planted it effectively in the Sabbath of your mind, your work is done. The anxiety comes when you don't trust the soil. You think you need to help God. You think you need to manipulate people. Stop it. That is the old man trying to survive. The new man rests in the knowing. If you find yourself anxious, it is a signal. Anxiety is the smoke that indicates the fire of your attention is burning the wrong fuel. It means you have drifted from the end. Gently, without self-condemnation, bring your mind back. Ask yourself, if I were the person I want to be, how would I feel right now? And catch that mood, wear that mood like a garment. The more you wear it, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, you will not have to try to feel wealthy or loved. You will just be it. And when you are it, the world has no choice but to show it to you. Let us speak for a moment about the people in your life who seem to be obstacles, the boss who blocks your promotion, the partner who doesn't understand, the family member who drains you. In the philosophy of the chosen, there are no others. There is only you, pushed out. These people are reflecting aspects of your own consciousness back to you. They are messengers telling you what you effectively believe. If you believe you are unworthy, you will manifest a tyrant to treat you as unworthy. Do not fight the tyrant. Change your concept of yourself. Rise in your own estimation. Assume the dignity of the God self within. As you change your inner feeling to one of value, respect, and love, watch how they change. They will either transform their behavior to match your new state, or they will fade out of your life to be replaced by those who do. You do not need to change them. You only need to change your relationship to yourself. This is the hardest lesson, but the most liberating. You are the center of your universe. Nothing happens to you. Everything happens from you. If this truth is hitting home, if you realize that you have been fighting mirrors instead of changing your face, share this video. Send it to someone who is locked in conflict with the world. You might be the messenger, the Gabriel, for them today. We rise by lifting others, and as you spread the light, you increase the light within yourself. Now, tonight, I want you to go deeper than you have before. We spoke of the Sabbath, but let us speak of the deep of God. There is a place in your consciousness where the world cannot touch you. It is the Holy of Holies. Before you sleep, practice the art of dying. Die to your problems, die to your history, die to your name and your limitations. Just be. I am. No qualifications. Just the pure feeling of existence. From that void, from that nothingness, you can become anything. This is the womb of creation. When you are just I am, you are free, and in that freedom, gently place the new concept of yourself. I am secure. I am healed. I am chosen. Do not scream it. Whisper it to your heart with the conviction of a lover. Feel the reality of it. Let it wrap around you like a warm blanket, and then drift into sleep in that embrace. Your sleep is the time when the conscious mind visits the subconscious. The lover visits the beloved. What you take into sleep is the seed you give to the beloved to birth into the world. If you take worry into sleep, you impregnate your subconscious with monsters. If you take the feeling of the wish fulfilled into sleep, you impregnate your world with miracles. This is why the state akin to sleep, SATS, is so crucial. It is the doorway to the divine depth. Do not waste your nights fighting mental battles. The day is for the rod of iron, the discipline of Michael. The night is for the embrace of the lover, the union with your ideal. Let the day be the battleground if it must, but let the night be the sanctuary. Many of you ask about signs. Neville, give me a sign that it is working. You are looking backward. The sign follows the believer. The believer does not follow the sign. If you demand a sign before you believe, you are like a man refusing to warm himself by the fire until the fire proves it is hot. You must cast the wood of your faith onto the fire first. The warmth you feel, the internal peace, the confidence, the coincidences, those are the signs. But the greatest sign is your own lack of desire. When you truly have it in your imagination, you no longer hunger for it. You might physically still be waiting, but mentally, you are full. You have eaten the bread of heaven. If you are still desperate, you have not yet eaten. You are still looking at the menu. Eat the state. Consume it until you are satisfied. That satisfaction is the inevitable signal that the manifestation is rushing towards you. Remember, you are dealing with a law as precise as gravity. Gravity does not care if you are a good person or a bad person. If you jump, you fall. The law of assumption does not care if you think you are deserving. It only cares about what you are conscious of being. You do not get what you want, you get what you are. So the work is always on identity. Who are you right now? Not who you hope to be, but who are you saying I am to? If you are saying I am trying, you will continue to try. If you are saying I am waiting, you will continue to wait. You must dare to say, I am he. I am the one who has it. I am the one who is healthy. I am the one who is free. This is the blasphemy to the world, but it is the piety to God. For God desires to express this through you. Do not let the time delay discourage you. In the spiritual realm, the harvest is immediate. In the physical realm, there is a season. Bamboo grows underground for years, unseen, building a root system, and then shoots up 60 feet in weeks. You are building your root system, the silence, the sats, the revision, the mental diet. These are the roots. The world sees nothing. They think you are stagnant, but you know the explosion of growth is imminent. Keep your counsel. Do not cast your pearls before swine. The swine are not bad people. They are simply those who cannot understand your pearl, your precious desire. and will trample it with their skepticism. Protect your dream, nurture it in the secret garden of your mind until it is strong enough to stand on its own. When it manifests, no explanation will be necessary. The fruit will speak for itself. As we continue this journey, you will find that the external symbols of religion open up to you. You will see that the Bible is not history, it is your biography. You are Moses, leading your desires out of the Egypt of limitation. You are Joshua, bringing down the walls of Jericho, the walls of your own mental blocks, not by force, but by the sound of the trumpet, which is the tone of your triumphant inner speech. You are Jesus, burying the old man and rising as the new. Every character is a state of mind, and you are the actor playing all the parts. When you realize this, the fear of spiritual warfare vanishes. There is no devil fighting you except your own ignorance. There is no wrathful God punishing you except your own misuse of your imagination. You are free. You have always been free. You just forgot who you were. So tonight, take off the mask of the victim. Take off the heavy robes of the waiter. Put on the royal garments of the Son of God. Stand tall in your imagination. The world is waiting for you to take your command. The elements will shift, people will call, opportunities will arise, not because you begged, but because you assumed your rightful place. Listen to the silence. It is not empty. It is pregnant with your decree. What will you command tonight? What?